Know when we're live.
We are live.
Hey guys, welcome to Element 115. We wanted to pop on here really fast and just give out a little shout out to everybody who's already joining us tonight. We've got a bunch of people already in the comments that we've said hello to. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hi, Christine. We're trying really hard to say hello to everyone who's been jumping on here early. If you guys don't already know us, and I think you probably do, I'm Jax,
And I'm Lee,
and we are
Element
Element
115.
115. You guys, we have some of the best stories to tell you. We
Well,
are officially going to go live. Like we are live, but we're going to start the show in just a few minutes at 8 o'clock. But we just wanted to jump on here, give you guys a little shout out. What we want to do is we actually wanted to get on a little early to say we want to give a huge, 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 massive thank you to our spaced out radio family for giving us this opportunity to do our show. We are so excited. We've been planning this
very,
now for
very.
a while. So huge, huge heart love. Thank you to everyone. Dave, Rob, Kira. I mean, all you guys, everybody.
Everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
We love you all so much. And we love being a part of Spaced Out Radio. And we are just beyond thrilled to have this opportunity. So, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And on that note, we're going to roll our intro.
Something standing over there, which looks like a figure of figures some sort.
It literally just left.
What the hell? Like big freaking feet came through here.
Yeah. Huge. Massive.
Massive feet. Look at that. Wow. That's crazy.
Stretch.
Nah. It's garbly-gook.
Garbly-gook.
We're looking for full sentences. We want a full conversation.
Well, if you get probed, you might get stretched.
All right. Well, look at us. Here we are finally. Yay!
Yay. So excited to be here and meet with everybody and talk with everybody on chat and get our show going.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, we had the best time ever at Mount Adams. I know a bunch of you guys knew we were heading to, I actually flew from California up to Washington. And then we
Huh?
went to Mount Adams to go camping for 3 nights. And let me just tell you guys, we've got some stuff to tell you.
Yeah.
Insane.
Insane stuff like we've never experienced in our whole lives. And I know that Jackie's been doing this for 50 years.
I
So,
don't like to tell people that, but it's true.
well, we just celebrated her 28th birthday, so she must have gone through some sort of a time warp or something.
And that's why I love him.
But anyway, guys, Jackie, why don't you go ahead and give a little intro about yourself to everybody and let
Okay.
everybody know who you
Well,
are.
most of you guys out there already know who I am. I'm Jacque Harmon, also known as Jax. Most people in the paranormal field call me Jax. But if you guys don't know me, I have been in the paranormal field for literally 50 years as of this year. I just celebrated my 54th birthday. I started at the age of 4. My dad started taking me out, going to look for Bigfoot and UFO night sky watching and stuff like that. But really, we were more about the Bigfoot and Sasquatch style lifestyle, camping, um, that's just how I grew up. I was raised in that kind of environment and family. And so for me, it's been basically my whole life. And so this is like my passion. This is what I love to do. Being out in the wilderness and nature and the whole shebang, I love it. So now I grew up having lots of paranormal activity outside of Bigfoot activity. So
Mhm.
that's something that I have lived with, as well my whole life. And this is where we are today. We're still doing it. Like Lee and I are together, and we just started going out. Like we've been friends. We met actually 4 years ago, but we are together, and we actually went out for the first time, like actually on a trip, camping trip style, this past weekend. And then we'll share all the stories about what happened with us. But go ahead, Lee. Tell them more about you.
Well, obviously, you guys, if you know me, I'm Lee Strauss. If you don't, I'm kind of a real tech guy, real scientific type background, but I've been having paranormal experiences my whole life as well. Um, where I come from is more the UFO side because I am an abductee and I've had some other experiences in my life too. I love to, hike in the backcountry, backpack, and I've had some Bigfoot experiences out back there, but also used to be in search and rescue for ESAR, which is Everett Search and Rescue back in the day. But it's just been a lifelong thing for me, and camera equipment has always been like my sweet spot. I learned how to take, I learned a lot from my grandparents and my father as far as photography and that sort of thing. So that kind of got me into, videography and some other stuff, and bringing some other tech into the field of the paranormal that a lot of people haven't tried using before. So it's just a matter of having that background and then using that tech and bringing new tech into these different fields like ufology and the hunt for Bigfoot, and even into hauntings and stuff like that, just bringing and melding different tech into those sorts of fields. I mean, that's what I've been interested in doing for the last 12 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually what brought us together is,
Mhm.
meeting each other on Facebook through mutual friends who also did paranormal and, Bigfoot stuff, ufology, and different things like that. Like pretty much all of us, right? Who's
Yep.
into the paranormal. We have this huge community of people who like you get to know people. And I'd be honest, like most of my friends that I consider friends are people that I've met on Facebook, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, like I said, we met 4 years ago, and we actually just met in person for the first time in May at the Spaced
Mhm.
Out Radio fan party that we had in Reno. So, and now we're together and we're just enjoying life and doing what we love. So, with that,
Yeah.
I
Who
mean,
could
let's
ask
just.
for more?
I know,
Who really
right?
could ask for more? I mean,
He's
wow.
with Bigfoot Girl now.
Yeah, yeah, actually. I mean, it's just fantastic. So
Ah,
anyway,
well, yeah. So let's
let's
get started. Let's tell everybody about like what happened when we went to Mount Adams.
well, we had talked about this earlier and we wanted to share with everybody. This story actually started 4 years ago, you know, when we met and we started talking about good places to go to do Bigfoot hunting. And for some reason, I was like, this is the spot. This one particular spot at Mount Adams is where we should go. Right. But as it got closer and closer for us to actually leave for this trip, we found other areas that we wanted to go more because you could see more of the sky or whatever the case may be. It's just it felt like there was somewhere else we needed to be other than that one location. But as we drove up there and got close to the location that we wanted to be originally, we kept getting turned around because either there was snow on the road, either there was no good way to get into the location we wanted to go because it was tribal land. And not knowing that, not being able to see that from Google Earth until you drive up there and see the signs. And we didn't want to trespass, so we just figured, well, what the heck? We'll try to get to this other location that we saw 4 years ago that we wanted to go to. So we did. And I'm going to pass it over to Jackie because
So like he said, everything we did was pushing us to this one location, and now we know why. Okay.
yes.
So let's get right down to the nitty-gritty of like what happened. All right. So let me just tell you guys, this was by far the most active location that I've ever been to in all the 50
Mhm.
years that I have ever been to. I have been doing this, like I said, for a very long time. And I would say maybe max, you might get an hour, okay, of activity, 2 hours max, and you're thrilled, okay, to even get that. And it's usually like far away, or you hear
Mhm.
whoops and tree knocks or some chatter or something that you're like, okay, that's that, we're communicating and we're going back and forth. We're knocking, they're knocking, we're whistling, they're whistling. And that's about it. Like we have actually had like Bigfoot activity where it will come close to your camp, where it'll usually throw things at you. Okay, it
Mhm.
wants to get your attention. It wants you to know, like, yeah, we know you're here. We know you're right there, and we're gonna let you know it. Okay. Well, this was a little bit of a different weekend for us. So from the minute we arrived, and I'm not even kidding you, from the minute we get out of this truck, okay, we're already taking things out and we're hearing tree knocks from the
Mhm.
get-go.
Mhm.
And we just sort of look at each other like, okay, I hear that. And then as the day goes on, we hear whistles, we hear more tree knocks, we hear whoops,
Mhm.
and you can hear walking, like footsteps a little bit here and there. And this went on throughout the entire day.
But
Well,
I do
mid
want to say, I do
Mhm.
want to say that once we got the stuff out of the truck, we took my magnetic reader out and I'm surveying the area just to see if there's any strange magnetic fields or anything like that in the area, which we
Mhm.
really didn't find anything. But
Yeah,
then I asked you, should I just go ahead and do a whoop? And you were like, yeah, just give it a go. And
that's
so I
right.
did a
Yeah.
whoop. And
Mhm.
I have never heard a Sasquatch or anybody else come back in my own voice and whoop back
Yeah.
at me.
Yeah, it
And
sure
I was
did.
astonished how they could
And I heard
copy.
it. I heard it. It came right back in your same voice, so I heard it loud and clear. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say from just listening to that it was
Mhm.
probably maybe a quarter mile away when it whooped back.
Oh, yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say that. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it actually that would kind of make sense too of like some of the stuff we're going to tell you guys what we found.
Mhm.
And so we actually decided later in the afternoon after we got everything set up, the whole tent and we actually had two tents and we had like a food tent and he was setting up cameras and this is like an all day event. Okay. So by the time we're done getting all this set up, we decided to kind of go wander around.
Mhm.
Well, we ended up going down this little path and we were right next to water, which I'm always telling Lee, anytime you go and you want to set up camp for finding Bigfoot or activity that you want to have, you always need a water source. Okay.
Mhm.
And so immediately when we pulled in, you could hear the water like right next to us, which also brought the mosquitoes, which they may be alive. But
Yeah, they did.
so we ended up walking down this little path and I was following Lee down there. And all of a sudden, he stops in his tracks and says, oh my God, like, look at these massive, huge trucks. As a matter of fact, it's in our intro.
Yep.
So it's kind of like this wet, marshy, grassy, piece of land. that you can literally see these massive footprints that press
Mm-hmm.
down the grass all throughout going. It looked like it was going both ways, in and then back out the other way. And
I
we were just blown away.
Yeah, I thought there was two sets of tracks. It looked like, to me, it
Mhm.
looked like there was a track of a bigger and then a smaller uh, entity next to that, and
Yeah,
they
which
were heading down the creek.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes. And then we decided that we would go a little bit further up into the opposite side of the road, which was just like a dirt road in the middle of this camping area. We were out there by ourselves. Like there's no camping. I mean, there's camping, but like there's no one around us. Okay.
right,
And the closest people to us, we can't hear them. They're off somewhere else. They're not near us.
right.
So when we go back up, we're walking through and we go across the way, and there's just like this more dry, like wooded area.
Mm-hmm,
And one of
mm-hmm.
the very first things, I think you noticed it right away, was that very large footprint. And then there was
Yes,
like a juvenile footprint, which also basically replicated what we just saw in the marsh. Okay.
yes, yes,
And
exactly,
so,
exactly.
we took pictures of it, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, we're getting stuff right off the bat here. And so like I said, we'd already heard, the tree knocks, the whoops, the whistles, the whole thing.
Oh
And
yeah,
now we're seeing footprints. And so we walked around, and he had found like this wood structure, like a A-frame style wood structure where, they had taken a tree and like woven it through
mm-hmm.
another tree. And I have actually seen that several times before. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but I
Not
have
like
seen
that.
that before. Okay. The one that I
Mhm.
actually saw was way more woven in the last time than even this one. And it was like intentionally put through these trees. And then there was another one pushed down with like, it looked like kind of like an arrow pointing
Yes,
directly at this
yeah, it
whole
wasn't.
entire structure.
Yeah, it was kind of bent over. It wasn't
Hmm.
snapped. It was just facing
Yeah,
directly towards the center of that other structure that was there. And
exactly.
I'd
Yeah.
never seen anything like that. Of course, I
Hmm.
haven't been out doing as much investigation as you have,
Yeah.
as it
Yeah.
pertains
Yeah.
to Sasquatch.
So I've seen that many, many times. Usually you'll actually find more of them in one area. And I think if we had gone out a little bit further, we probably would have seen a lot more. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, we could hear a guy in the background riding around on a quad, and he was a little concerned about someone coming close to camp because he owns a lot of very nice equipment and cameras. So he was like, "All right, let's head back." And so we did.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
get back to camp, and basically we're kind of doing our regular night stuff, like making a fire and the little fire pit,
Cooking
and
dinner.
you're messing around with cameras, and we're eating and stuff. And so as the night gets dark, he goes, okay, well, let's get out the thermal camera and let's just see if there's anything we can see. And he turns around and like literally says to me, you need to come see this. Like, I think
Yeah.
I'm seeing one.
Yeah.
And so I go over and I hold it, and he's got his, phone, and he's like recording and taking pictures. And this looks like a full blown, Bigfoot. It's got the head, the shoulders, the arms, the body, like the whole, I mean, it's got the whole body, right? And it's standing
Yeah.
at the end of this road.
Yes, exactly. Right where we pulled into where we're camping, there's a long road, and that
Mhm,
leads up to the main road. But directly at the end of the road that we were camped on
mhm,
was what looked like, and what I still believe was a Sasquatch standing there just looking at us. We couldn't see
mhm,
it with our own eyes, but we could see it with the
mhm.
thermal. So
Well, when I was holding it, we scanned it around a little bit at other
right.
trees, and you could not see anything. I mean, oh my, losing my voice over here. You could not see anything out that looked anything like what we were looking at. I mean, it's
Exactly.
like it had like the entire body and a different color. Like it was like showing up, like,
Oh yeah.
like, like as if you're looking at like a body. Okay.
Exactly.
So,
Had the head, and the broad shoulders and
mhm,
the arms and the legs. standing there just facing
Yeah.
us,
And
looking
it's
directly
heated.
at
Like
us.
you can see the heat
Oh
signature
yeah.
on there. You can see it. Okay. So of course, we're gonna go down there. So of course we're walking down the road and I wanted to take it slow because I didn't want to lose it. Okay. So we
Yeah.
would take a few steps and I would look and I would go, okay, it's still there. Let's go. And then I would like take a few steps and I make sure I can still see it. And that thing stayed on there the entire time we walked down that road. Well, just
Almost.
as we get close to that tree, it's like it just kind of dissipates into
And
the tree,
phased
like as
out.
if now fades out, like we're looking at a tree. And I'm like, there's no way. There's
Uh-huh.
no way because a tree just looks like a tree. And when you're scanning it around, all you see are trees, 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 trees. And this one's got a full blown like body standing there, a very
Exactly.
large body standing
Right.
there.
Yeah. And
And
you
so,
know, I
yeah,
come
go
from
ahead.
more of a scientific background. Like, I need to see it. I need to understand it. I'm
Mhm.
trying to rationalize it. That's what I do, when I'm coming across anything that could possibly be a UFO or whatever the case may be. I need to understand it. I can't just accept it outright. I need as much evidence as I can possibly get. So that's how I come at things. So I'm like, what the heck? Because this thing looked like a full body apparition standing there and big,
Mhm.
big. So
Large.
we get up to it and it just fades away. And like, what the heck? And that doesn't
Oh,
make
even the
sense.
coloring changed. It went from like
Yeah.
really bright red to like faded into like a yellow. And
Uh-huh.
then by the time you get there, it's gone. Like, and the thing is, we could see it the whole time. It
Hmm.
it never moved. It never squatted or went behind the tree or anything. It just faded out.
Yes, exactly. It faded away.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So then we're like, okay, well, it's gone. So let's turn around and head back. So we do. We don't hear anything. We don't
Hmm.
see anything else. We just walk back. So we get back to camp and, we're just sort of kind of hanging out by the fire and we're just,
Chatting it
doing our
up and
nightly, like little hangout. And it starts to get kind of quiet.
hmm.
It's just like the activity just sort of kind of decided to be quiet for a while. So we're like, all right, well, we're just going to hang out here by the fire for a little bit.
I did
And
try to
we'll
go
just,
live.
yeah, yeah, we were having
Yeah.
some a little bit of issues out there too with that. And we got to the point where we're just like, okay, well, let's just go to bed. It's late and we'll just, he's like, I'm exhausted. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to hang out here by myself. So we're going to go get in the tent. Well, before I tell you anymore, let me explain this tent. Okay. Actually, I'm going to have Lee explain this tent to you.
Yeah, so I'm not fond of sleeping on the ground. I do not like sleeping on the ground. Ever since I went backpacking years and years ago and tried sleeping in a hammock, and that was it for me. I mean, sleeping in the hammock is fantastic. You're up off the ground. You can put a pad inside the hammock so you don't get cold on your underside. It's just the way to sleep. So when years ago, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or whatever, I was online and I saw this ad for a tensile tent, which is a tent that's rigged up between three trees. And I'm like, oh, that's the ticket. I got to get me one of these. So I went to Aria and got one, and I
Triangle.
bit, yeah, it's like a triangle. So the strap will come off the back end, and then one for the corner on one side, and one for the corner on another side. As
Mhm.
long as you have equilateral trees, you can put one up and that sort of thing. So we're you can be anywhere, any height off the ground you want. You can get a ladder and put the darn thing way up in the darn trees if you want to, but for our purposes and for Jackie, I just kept it like at 3.5, 4 feet off the ground, a little step ladder to get in and out and that sort of thing. So we had a
Yeah.
mattress, a 3-inch foam mattress, and we put that inside there so that we could sleep on that and have a comfortable night. I mean, and we're still hearing things around us all Even before we went to bed, there was walking, there was chatter, there was tree knocks, there was rock clacks, there was whistles, there was, you name it, it was going on.
And that
And
was
I think,
before it got a little quiet, though. That was before it got,
yeah,
because for some weird reason, it went dead silent there for a few minutes. And I think that's when he
you're
was
right.
like, all right, well, it sounds like the activity's died down. I'm
Yep.
tired. Let's go lay down. Okay. Well, let me just tell you guys this. I've never been in a tensile before, and I am not a fan of heights. I don't care if it's 3 feet off the ground or 100 feet. I am not a fan of being up off the ground, thinking that this thing's gonna fall to the ground and that's it. We're gonna get harmed. Well, I kind of have like a tiny little backstory I'm going to give you, and that you'll
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
I was in a horrible accident where I broke my back. Okay,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
so now it's hard for me to get comfortable in things that I feel like are going to fall. Okay, so
mhm,
that freaks me
mhm.
out. So I have anxiety about things like that. And I don't like small spaces. I'm claustrophobic and I don't like heights. So this thing was like my nemesis. Okay. This spaceship was going to kill me. That's how I felt.
Mhm.
Okay. So needless to say, let me tell you what happened. We're both going to tell you what happened.
Oh yeah.
This is when the crap hit the fan. Okay. I crawl in the tent and I immediately say the words, I am not comfortable and I have massive anxiety about being in this thing. And it's probably going to take me a little while to settle down because
That's
it
right.
almost has this feeling of like you're in a water bed, but you're above ground, kind of just floating up.
Mhm.
Well, that did not make me comfortable. He's like, fuck her out, peace out, I'm going to sleep. And I'm like,
I do want to say though, before you climbed in it, I jumped on that thing and I was bouncing up and down on the
yeah,
darn
you
thing to show
were.
you how
Yeah,
safe it
you were.
was. Yeah.
And I said, okay, you need to stop that. I'm not comfortable. I need to get comfortable. So when I crawled in, I'm already like on edge, okay? Because I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I'm like trying to mentally prepare myself for this thing, and I'm not totally comfortable. So I get in it and I'm trying my best to just sort of like, okay, calm down, Jackie. It's okay. It's just a tent. It's not going to fall. And I'm like trying to mentally like prepare myself for this tent. Well, let's just say I lay my head down and I'm still tense as can be. I am not
Mhm.
there yet. All of a sudden, we hear it sounds like a massive, huge tree
Uh-huh.
gets thrown into our camp.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm telling you, my anxiety now is like skyrocketed. Okay. Cause I'm just like, I'm not even comfortable with the tent yet.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
ready for what's to come.
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna stop right there and I'm gonna let Lee tell you more.
Yeah. Okay. So that log that was thrown into camp, just from hearing it makes me think that it must have been 10 inches around, right? And probably a good 600 pounds is what it sounded like when it hit the
It's
ground.
huge.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, what just happened?
Hmm.
I obviously it was a Sasquatch thing because
Yeah.
there's nothing else that could pick up something that sounded like that when it hits the ground. And I'm like,
It
oh
was like
great.
boom, like it shook us.
Yeah, it did. It did. And and then after that, it was like a little quiet for a minute, and then we could hear shuffling of feet around the outside of camp, shuffling of feet.
Mhm.
And then there was this chatter, barely audible to me, but Jackie was picking it up. She's got a lot better hearing than I do because I've been in the construction field for the last 30 plus years. So
Mhm.
she's got better hearing than I do. I can barely hear it, but she's hearing it well enough.
Clear.
And we have already put out listening devices and trail cameras, and we have parabolic mic going, and we've got cameras going, and all kinds of stuff that's out in the field right now working for us. I think we had 6 trail cameras, and a field audio recorder, plus that parabolic mic, and 2 Sony cameras that were trained on Mount Adams at the time that all of this was going on.
Yeah.
And so I have all this equipment out. We've got all of our food is actually packed up in our truck, but everything else is strewn everywhere. Before we got in that tent, though, Jackie took an apple and a couple bananas over to an area across from camp in a little bit of a clearing. And she put this apple down and a couple bananas. And then we put a trail camera on that. We had some glow-in-the-dark marbles that we had placed and had a trail camera over there for those glow-in-the-dark marbles. And we had a couple glow sticks and stuff like that. And we had cameras facing the campsite. We had cameras facing away from the campsite. So we pretty much put down everything that we had to possibly capture something if something did happen. So I was feeling pretty comfortable about that, right? Everything that we had done, everything that we'd placed out, everything was recording. But when that log hit the ground, I'm going to tell you something. That put the fear in us, like you wouldn't believe. And I'm going to pass it back to you for what happened next.
So the craziest thing was, there was some, after the log hit the ground, it was like as if it went once again dead silent for maybe about a minute or two. Okay. And it was like, okay, we know what just happened. We heard it clear as day. And now I'm thinking like, okay, it's letting us know it's in camp and it's letting us know like I'm here, and it's wanting us to know like, look, I want you to know I'm here and I'm going to make this big sound. So we're like, okay, we hear you, but we don't say anything. We lay there silent. Okay. And we just like look at each other, and we're in this tensile just laying there. And so a couple of minutes goes by, and like I said, it's silent as can be. And it's almost like that calm before the storm kind of feel, okay? So now we're laying there and I'm feeling like, okay, I am not liking this feeling, because for me, what I normally do in my pattern of going out and doing Bigfoot stuff is I stay up all night. I don't go to bed at night. I stay up, I stay with the activity. I want to interact. I want to see, I want to have a visual. I want to hear everything. I want to have that experience. But we did things very differently at this campsite. So we are laying in there. And like I said, it's probably been maybe 2-3 minutes of like complete silence. And we did not hear one thing, nothing, no breath, no growls, no footsteps, nothing. You couldn't smell anything. You couldn't hear anything. And all of a sudden, as we're laying there as still as we can be, now you got to understand this tent is being held up by these straps like you would use to like when you're moving or something. These are
Ratchet
heavy duty straps. Okay.
Yeah, they're ratchet straps.
All of a sudden, the one in the far back by our feet gets like this, like as hard as it can be hit. And our whole tent just went boom, like it just shook. And we both just laid there dead silent. We didn't move. We didn't say a word. We knew whatever it is standing right outside of our tent at the foot or next. It was on like Lee's side, and I'm like literally smack in the middle of this tent in this mattress. Okay. So Lee's got this horn. What do you call that thing?
It's just an air horn, like you'd have on your boat or whatever.
Yeah. So he gets this idea, whatever it is, he's gonna horn it off. Okay. So this horn goes off and it's loud. Okay. And we're both, I'm at least thinking, like, I don't know what you think that thing's going to do, but apparently he thinks it's going to scare it off. And so he plays the horn, and then once again, dead silent. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm listening intently for footsteps to walk off. You never hear a sound. Never. It is silent. Then about maybe 2 to 3 minutes again goes by, and we're thinking, like, okay, whatever it is, it's gone, because we don't hear anything anymore. We don't hear it. We don't, nothing. All of a sudden, you feel underneath us. Now you got to remember, we're about 3 or 4 feet off the ground in this, and we got about a 3-inch pad, which when your body is on that pad, it squishes down pretty thin. Okay. Now, like I said in the beginning, I am in the middle of this tent in this giant triangle. So I'm smack in the middle of my body, and he's off to the side. This gigantic arm goes underneath us, and it is on my, I can feel it under my left side of my body. I can feel the hand. The hand is enormous. I can feel it go under my leg. It went up my leg, my butt, my back, my head. And I could feel it kind of doing this weird grabby feel of, like, what is in there? Okay, I don't know if that horn threw this thing off or what, but
It
I
didn't
am
throw
telling
nothing off.
you, I have never in my life, of all the years of doing Bigfoot research, activity of any kind, I am not even kidding you, I have never, ever had so much fear. I had a full-blown anxiety panic attack. And in this panic attack, and I kid you not, I was trying to be dead silent. My body started to shake like intense. I mean, it was intense, and it went on for hours. I could not stop shaking. But this hand, and I'm not even kidding you guys, it went up my body and Lee's body. Like, Lee could feel the upper part of the arm, and I could feel the hand. My left side of my body is feeling this giant hand go up my body. It went up once, back down, and up
And
the
then back
third
up.
time. Then it
Yep.
released. I knew right then and there that we both just had a Bigfoot literally rub its arm up and down our body, trying to figure out either what we are or if we were even in there. I think this whole time it was trying to get us to come out.
I think
That's how
so.
I
Now that
felt. I
we
was like,
yeah.
it
Now that
was
we've
hard.
had time to think about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the moment, I was like, oh, it's going to kill me. I'm going to die. I'm never going to, I'm not going to survive this. Okay. But you guys, it was insane. Okay. This was probably about, I'm going to say 11:30 when
I
this
would
all
say about
started.
11:30. Yeah.
Okay. It went on. After it did that with the hand, it walked away, but we never heard it. We
No.
never heard anything. No walking. We never smelled anything. We never heard a breath. We just heard nothing. We could just hear what it was doing, or the
Right.
hand going up. We felt that. By this time, I am ready to pack my crap and go. Okay. And Lee, for whatever reason, I don't know why, and I know he probably thinks I'm getting on to him because I've said this 1,000 times.
Here we
But
go.
it was like as if somebody had drugged this man. He wanted to go to sleep immediately. And I was like, are you insane? There's a Bigfoot out there and it's trying to eat us, and you want to go to sleep. Okay.
I have to
And
defend myself though.
go ahead.
I need to, just to save face. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, I felt this thing and I was thinking, why is the mattress all of a sudden getting crinkled up?
That's true.
Why is it, what's
say that.
contorting the mattress? What is happening right now? I'm not the one getting fondled. You know what I mean? Right at this point in time, she is, but I'm feeling something and I'm not sure what it is. And it's like, what's going on with the mattress? I don't understand, because I'm half asleep at the time that
Mhm.
I go to sleep just like this. I for whatever reason, I lay my head down and I'm out in
This is
I
a
can
true
go to sleep
story.
in less than a minute, no problem.
Seconds.
Yeah, no problem. But for some reason, I felt this going on, and I thought it was the mattress. I don't know why the mattress is getting crinkled up. In fact, I remember I was on my back while I felt this. I was like, "What the heck?" And there was this lump, and I was like, "Okay." So I rolled over towards her.
Yeah, he keeps moving during it. Freaking
I
me out.
rolled over onto it to try to put weight down on the crinkle in the mattress, with my hip. And that's when I noticed it finally went away. But it was there, and it was like moving, and for some reason I couldn't understand it. Why I logically couldn't understand what was going on. We had giggled and laughed about the air horn after I set it off because everything got quiet, and I thought I had scared it
Yeah.
away with an air
Yeah.
horn, but I
Well,
didn't.
let's just say you kept talking. I kept telling you to be quiet.
You did. You were telling me to shut
I
up.
was like, be quiet, be quiet.
I'm like, no, it's fine now. He's gone. He's gone. Whatever,
Yeah, I don't think
Air
it
horn
left.
really got him good. And we were giggling.
Mhm.
I was giggling about that,
Mhm.
But you were shaking like a leaf, and I was trying to calm her down. I was like, honey,
Uncontrollably.
yeah, exactly. You were uncontrollably shaking, and I was trying to calm you
Hours.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I was like, I'm here. Don't worry. Nothing's going to
Yeah.
happen, I do pack a firearm, but there wasn't any reason that I
No.
would just blindly fire a gun through a tent.
No.
I'm not that person. I'm not going to do that unless I feel like we are in mortal danger.
Yeah. And I have to say too, in that moment, okay, you guys have to understand something. This is the first time for me in 50 years that I have ever felt that kind of fear being in a Bigfoot environment. Okay. I have never experienced that before. That was new for me. I didn't quite understand what was going on with me. And as I'm laying there, and I kid you not, literally like going through this anxiety attack, I am mentally trying to talk myself into like, you're okay, you're okay, everything's okay, it's not here to hurt you, I'm
Mhm.
fine. But yet my mind and my mouth were saying two different things because I'm like, "Peck, get out, we're leaving, we're going home." I'm like, I'm ready to bail. But my mind was like, it's okay, it's not going to hurt you. Nothing's happened. And if it did want to hurt us, it would have hurt us. It
Yeah,
has
you
the
would.
ability to
Mhm.
do whatever it wants. It has the strength to wipe us out. It could have been like 2 seconds and that tent would have been gone. We could have been gone. It could have ripped us apart. But mentally, I kept trying to remind myself, I'm not new to this. This isn't new for me. I'm used to this. I need to calm myself down. And I felt horrible for you, babe, because you were trying so hard to calm me down and reassure me. And it was like nothing you said. And I felt horrible because I was
Right.
like, I know you're trying so hard. But in that moment, it was like I had no control.
Yeah.
0 control. And I think that's where you guys have to understand too, like, when I go out and I do these, Bigfoot expeditions, researching or whatever it is I'm doing, I always have protection with me on my body, okay? This was a first for me. I didn't have that. And a part of me felt like I had no way of protecting myself, even
Mhm.
though I had him right next to me with a gun, which I would freak out if he tried to shoot it. Like I would never want to harm one
Right.
unless I felt like
Exactly.
something was trying to harm us. Okay. So I would never do that. In all the 50 years I've had Bigfoot activity, I have never once ever shot my gun. Never.
Right.
Okay. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't do that unless absolutely needed. But I think that may have been a big part of it for me. It's like I'm not feeling protected. I'm already anxiety filled from this tent. And now here we go. activity, 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 and I'm just laying there like I honestly felt like I was trapped. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have given this thought over the last, and we have nonstop talked about this. So
Mhm.
you guys have to understand this happened last weekend. This is very fresh for us. This was last Thursday night that this happened. So it has been 1 week since
No,
we
it
have
was
gone through this.
yeah. So not last Thursday night, but the Thursday prior.
No, a week ago. A week
Yes.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not last night, last Thursday. So you guys just have to understand, like it's a lot to take in when you're there. And then when you get home, it's a lot to process.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it was nonstop, and we're not even done telling you this went on probably until about, I'd say, maybe 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
And
Yeah.
it and when I say nonstop, I mean literally nonstop all night. We're talking footsteps circling our camp, whooping, um, tree knocks, whistling, and nonstop talking chatter. Like
Yeah.
you could hear, and if I had to take a wild guess, I would say it was like maybe 2 to 4 adults, maybe two more like
Juveniles.
juvenile to maybe teenage. I don't know what, kind of age group, but they seemed younger because it almost seemed to me like a family.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly the way it felt.
Yeah. Plus, we'd already seen the footsteps of the older one and the younger one. So in our mind,
Mm-hmm.
we're thinking like, okay, this is a family. And maybe we got way too close to its home. Maybe we're smack in the middle of its home. Maybe we're in its
Exactly.
home. You know,
Right.
maybe it lives here. Maybe this is its home. Maybe this exact spot is where it likes to sleep. Who knows? We don't know.
Right. Because we
Yeah.
had, it was south of us, we had footsteps and footprints through the marshy area. And then, north of us, we had the tree structures and the other footsteps on that side. So we were in between where they congregate or whatever the case may be. I remember when we were walking down the road, I kept thinking to myself, and I even said this out loud to you. I said, we need to look off the road in both directions to see if there's any markers or something like that where Sasquatch could know this is where it needs to cross the road here to get
Exactly.
wherever it needs to go. But at the time, we didn't see anything until we got clearly off the road and down in the brush where we saw stuff. And I tell you what, I had never, been in a situation like that. I've been abducted before and have had those sorts of horrible things and not so horrible. But in this situation, once I realized what was going on the next day after we had talked about it, and we didn't even know, I didn't know that she had been actually, groped, so, and
Yeah.
I just thought it was the mattress. And I was talking to her about the mattress. And she said, I was touched. I was groped because she was so scared at that time that she wasn't even willing to tell me what exactly was going on, other than she was just physically shaking.
And that
And I
made
was
it
like,
10
oh, yeah.
times worse for me. Once I felt, and I could physically, now you got to remember, this is a human hand, okay? I'm talking like I could feel this massive hand literally underneath me as it was like going up my body. I could feel it squeezing my body. And like I said, he could feel this part of it underneath. This arm had to be massive for it to like be standing there because our tent never got pushed in. We never felt anything like lean into us. We never heard anything lean into us. And all of a sudden, it's just, this hand. And the weird thing is, and it is so funny because I just mentioned to you this morning, um, I went home and I'm covered in bruises in my left part of my body. And the strangest thing is I only have them on the left side of my body. And sitting here talking to you about it, it's now it's making me wonder like, is that a reason why? because I've been
Hmm.
wondering this whole time, like, why am I covered in bruises? Like on my left side, it's like it squeezed me so hard, and I bruise like a peach. So it's been a little strange, but it was it was a weekend to remember. We're never going to forget this as long as we live. We have been nonstop trying to process it, understand it. We talk about it all the time. Um,
Hmm.
just trying to like fully grasp, like, did that just really happen to us? We know it did.
Yeah,
We
we've got
lived through it.
audio.
Oh my gosh. Like, you guys, another thing that really, really was weird to us was, so I'm really big on having trail cams circle your camp. Okay. And I remember telling Lee before we got there, like, this is the way I like to set up camp with trail cams. I want trail cams looking in, not
Hmm.
so much looking out. Okay. If they're going to come near you or get curious, they're going to get really close and you're
Yeah.
going to capture something closer than you will further. And so we had a few of them like looking towards us. The strangest thing was when we were watching these videos, and one of them on the trail cam was, you could see us sitting at the campfire,
Hmm.
and we're both sitting on the side and we hear activity on the other side, and you can see me physically. I keep looking over, like, I see or hear. I don't see anything like I see you, but I hear you, and I constantly felt watched from
Yep.
that location. And I kept telling him over and over, I feel like we're being watched from right here.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
lo and behold, we've got this trail cam right there. And while we're sitting there, you see me look up, and I look over like, I hear something. Do I see something? But I just constantly have that feeling like something's there. And you hear that trail cam, basically the buckle gets taken off, like it's unlocked, and it
Yep.
goes click, click. Like, it almost sounds like something's taking a picture, or turning
Hmm.
it off. We don't know what it is. And it's as clear as day. It's so weird. It's just like click, click,
Hmm.
and then we're just sitting there and you can see us. We're just sitting there and I'm like looking over,
Hmm.
and but it was strange. The whole time we were there, it was, I feel them around us. We heard them constantly around us, and it was nonstop. Absolutely nonstop. The most activity ever that I've ever experienced in probably all the 50 years. I would say that one night combined was better than most of, if you gathered all the nights I've ever had and put them all together. That was the most insane Bigfoot activity ever, my entire
Yeah.
life.
You know, and another part of this, the things that happened to us. I remember a week before you came up here, we were both saying, I feel like something's going to happen. And
Hmm.
darn if it did not. You know,
Yeah,
it happened. And
yeah.
that's just, it's like the
Hmm.
precognitive type thing going on, even from 4
Yeah,
years ago.
exactly.
I don't know why. I've never been to this location before. I've always wanted to go just because I felt like it was a place that
Yeah,
we needed to go to, like where we could have activity, just because of the nature of the location, because it had
exactly.
water nearby
Yeah.
and some other
Yeah, and
things.
we talked about it, and then you kept telling me about it, like, "Yeah, we gotta go to this place," and so it was like this pre-planned area, and we just knew something was there. I mean, like, literally from the second, like I said, we got out, we were already like, we weren't even there like 5 minutes, and you just knock, and
Hmm.
we just
Yep.
both looked at each other, and I go, "Well, there's our first knock.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not
Exactly.
alone."
And I'd never been in a place where this much activity had happened. I've had things follow me through the woods, off to the one side or whatever, casing me down the trail a couple of times. And some other things happened with me, but nothing like this. This was insanity. I mean, this
This
was
was insanity.
crazy. From literally, it must have been like 16 hours of constant
It
Bigfoot
was.
activity.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane. And when we step away and we think about the stuff that happened, and it's not my thoughts. This actually came from Jackie. She says, I think they just wanted to talk with us. They wanted to converse with us. They wanted to watch us do whatever it is we do.
Yeah.
Because they're so curious.
So let's see. So why do you think this trip gave you so much interaction? The location? What do you think?
I think it's you. I really do. I think it's
I know
you,
you've
Jackie.
said that.
Um,
I've been telling Lee this probably as long as I've known him, and we started talking about Bigfoot is I grew up doing this with my dad and my family and more of my uncles and boy cousins and stuff like that. I'm the only female in my entire family who does this. But that's what they used to tell me that they would go to a location and things would be like, they'd get a little bit here and there, but every single time they would take me, the activity was just insane. And it would just be like way more, way, even in the exact same location over and over. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know if it's me or if it's something else. But let me tell you guys something. Let me tell you guys something. And I forgot to tell you this. Okay. So here's something that I'm trying to share some stuff here, but maybe you can go through the comments and share some stuff while I'm telling them this. But here's something that I want to tell you guys that I do that really shook me probably to my core that night. Okay. So when I get to a location, when I first get there, I take my shoes off and I ground myself. And what I do is I allow my energy, and I had Lee do this with me. I share my energy with my full self, and your feet touching the ground is a good way of sharing yourself with the earth and grounding yourself and sharing that energy with what's around you. Okay. Well, let me just say this. I normally don't get like this. And for people who know me, I am like Bigfoot girl who goes out and does all the stuff and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I don't know if it's because this is my first time out with Lee or what, but I'm about to just show this man what this girl's all about. Okay. Let me just tell you that is not how crap went down. So I am standing there grounding myself and saying the words not out loud, but to myself and to basically the earth and the Bigfoot and the families and whatever's out there. Okay. And I use the words, these are exactly the words that I said. I do not fear you. And I do not have anxiety about you. So if you want to come here, you are welcome to come here. You are welcome to share my energy and you are allowed near us. Okay. Well, boy, did it show me. And we just told you guys what happened. And I'm telling you, that thing was like, girl, don't get cocky. Okay. Because we're about to show you who's in control here. And that is normally not like me. But I think because I was with Lee, I was like, I got this. Okay. Like, I want to show my boyfriend how amazing I am at doing Bigfoot stuff. Well, let me just tell you, Bigfoot was like, I don't think so.
That's right.
Yeah. Let me show you who's in control. And boy, did they show me. So, don't go out there thinking like you got this because I thought the same thing. That thing will show you who's got power and who's in control. And it wasn't me. And I laid there all night, like trying to control myself from feeling this horrible anxiety attack. And if you've ever had an anxiety attack in your life, you know how horrible this is. But it was nonstop shaking and fear and wanting to get out of that tent and pack my crap and go home. That's what I wanted in that moment. Okay. But yet at the same time, mentally, I'm like, girl, you got to lay still. You got to be quiet. You got to like get your crap together and chill out. And like, I'm trying to talk myself out of this panic attack. At the same time, I'm like, no, girl, no, go home.
Every
And then
time.
my brain's like, no, you got this, so it's like two of me like going after it. But honestly, I have to say, I had had enough. By morning, I could not see myself going through another night of feeling that panic. And I knew right then and there, like there's sometimes when you just know you've had enough. And I'd had enough that night. So I said, babe, we got to change locations. And he looked at me like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Because I just set this crap up and it took me. And I said, I don't care. We're going. So before we end this show, though, I want to let you guys know that in 5 minutes, we've got Rob G, who's going to be taking over tonight's show for Dave Scott
Yep.
and Merle and Samantha, and I don't know if anyone else is out there with them, but they are out in the field tonight doing some fun stuff in the woods, stuff we wish we were doing.
Yeah.
And
We
if
wish we were
anybody out
there.
there, yeah, if anyone is curious if Lee and I want to go back to this location, that is a yes. We
Yes.
are fully planning on going back, and we already have a plan of how we're going to do that investigation. It's going to be completely different this time around. We will be staying up all night and interacting,
Yep.
and there will be no crawling in any tents during the dark.
That's
I can
correct.
guarantee you that. But also, before we go, we just want to give a huge thank you again to our Spaced Out Radio family for allowing us to do this. We are having a ball. We are so excited. And we absolutely love our SOR family. We love our fans. We love everybody out there who comes on and watches and comments and enjoys the show with us. We hope you guys will join us again. We will be live every Friday night
That's correct.
from 8 to 9, this exact
Mhm.
same time. And that's Pacific Standard Time. So we hope you guys come back and enjoy it with us. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can find me on Jacque Harmon Facebook or West Coast Squatchers. If you guys do go to my Jacque Harmon Facebook page, I am maxed out at friends. You can still follow me though. I'm getting a lot of people asking me if they can be friends, and I'm maxed out. So sorry about that. Or Lee Strauss.
Yep.
Go ahead and tell them where they can find you.
So Lee Strauss or Andrew and Lee on the Trail. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. So that's where you'll find me. And let me tell you, we are definitely looking forward to going back out there again. I'm so excited to get back out there. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
So,
I know you guys think we're probably absolutely out of our minds, but I'm telling you, ever since we got home, I have been nonstop thinking like, when can we go back?
Yep.
Yes, I had a really crazy, insane, horrible anxiety attack, and it was an insane night, but the activity itself is calling me back. Like I said, we're going to do things differently this time, but I am beyond out of my mind excited to go back and do it again. I can't wait.
Yep. I
Yeah.
can't either.
Yeah. And this was at Mount Adams. So if anybody's wondering where we were at the base of Mount Adams.
Yep. And here in 2 minutes, we're going to switch it over. So actually, we're going to cut it off right now. So
well, no, give it like a minute because we need to go right before Rob comes on. Yeah. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And I know as next week, as time goes on and we get a little, more used to like the show, we'll put more comments on and we'll talk more. We were just really, really excited about sharing this story with you guys. And we just want to thank you all again for watching. And we hope to see you guys next week.
Bye,
guys.